What's up, YouTube? What's up, Facebook? What's up, Instagram? Instagram, you probably will only be seeing this short, but I wanted to put out this message, and I'm also making chili. So if you decide to go over on my YouTube channel to watch me making chili and just talking about God and just, I don't know, I guess like discussions of life. I put out quite a few messages, and one of the messages that I wanted to put out right now is I just recently wrote a book talking about how deliverance in particular, because there's different forms of deliverance, there's different types of deliverance. I don't know all the types of deliverance, but the deliverance part that I'm learning about has to do with deliverance from ourselves. And I think, and I still need to study more, but from my basic understanding of what I've learned now is a lot of self-deliverance comes to us from personal choices that we have to make ourselves through the grace of God. Because even if we make these choices ourselves, it's ultimately God who wills us to make all of these choices. However, God will not force you to make these choices. So it's like the choices that he wants you to make. He wants you to make the right one, which is the path of life, or you can pick the other path, and that's the path to destruction. But I'm not here to talk about doom and gloom and all of that. I'm here to talk about the deliverance part and how deliverance, especially when it impacts our soul, that's something that it's not like so much, like what I'm trying to say is like, it's not just like being delivered from a demon. Whenever someone's demonically influenced or demonically possessed or has had a demon working around them or an evil spirit working around them, unclean spirits working around them, there can be impressions made on the soul that can make it difficult for the person to be fully delivered. So the demon can be completely gone away from them out their life, but the aftermath of what the demon or the unclean spirit or the evil spirit, whatever, I'm still learning about the spirit part, like the different influences, whether they're demonic, unclean spirits or evil spirits. I'm still learning about that. So forgive me for not knowing every single aspect of that. But what I do know and what I have seen is that when people are delivered from these, there's still aspects of the soul that have been put through so much pain that it comes up through, we'll say, trauma. And that aspect of trauma can make it hard for people to move to a place of healing and be whole, which is ultimately what God desires for us. And that's why a part of me wanted to write about this book on some areas of self-deliverance that I know people struggle with. And that happens to be the area that the demonic entity or whatever it was that influenced us and no longer does has hurt our soul. So that could be going through an abusive relationship. That could be somebody dying in your family that you really, really cared about, and they were such like a amazing support system for you. That could be going through tragedy. Like currently right now we live in Florida, and we're right around like the Tampa area. And as you know, we just recently got slammed. I'm making chili, by the way, but we just recently got slammed with all of these hurricanes. And I wanted to use my can opener, but my can opener is somewhat loud, and I want to make sure that you guys can actually hear me. So hold on, I have to get the tried and true. I'm sure a lot of people don't know what this looks like, but it's a can opener. I think a lot of people now have electric, but I could be wrong about that too. Most people don't know that the thing that's stopping them from being fully healed came from that traumatic event. And trauma can keep us stagnant. Trauma can keep us hurt. Trauma can keep us from establishing better relationships with people. It can impact the relationships with the people that we care about the most. That could be our children. Like, this probably not the most fun example to talk about, but this could be a mother that was raped, and now all of a sudden that traumatic event impacts her relationships with her children because she can't fully be present. This could impact their finances. Trauma is, it really is, to me, and this is my opinion, I think trauma and the damage that it's done to the soul really stops people from just moving in purpose, walking in their destiny, and just having a healthier, better relationship with God and healthier lifestyle. So I don't know why. Well, part of me knows why, because God said. I know people don't like hearing that, but I truly do. I think somebody needs to hear this, that if what's holding you back was the remnant of some traumatic event in your life, I'm not just going to sit here and tell you to let it go. No, I'm not going to tell you to let it go. I'm going to tell you to give it to God. Because when I told you that, and forgive me, my dog's gulping water in the background. Thor. Oh my gosh, he's got drool all over his face. Sorry, guys. I have ADHD too, so if I get sidetracked, that's why. But I was talking about, you don't need to let it go. You need to give it to God. And you're like, Amy, isn't that kind of like similar to letting it go because I'm handing it to somebody else and it's no longer in my hands? Yes and no, but the thing that you need to remember is that just like God's learning how to trust us, we are also learning how to trust Him, because trauma can be a result of someone. It can be, it doesn't have to be. It could be another example of a traumatic event. But that causes to let it go and put it into God's hands. When you let go of the trauma and you put it in God's hands, what God does is He takes that hurt and that pain and He replaces it with something else. But this is the grace part that comes into play. God gives you grace because He is not like us. He is 100% spirit. He does not have a soul, although He had a soul when He was, Jesus on this earth. Forgive me, guys. I'm also browning some hamburger, and I know that sometimes that can be a little loud. So He knows what it's like to have a soul, and He made our souls and put our souls in us. So He knows and He understands the soul better than what we can do, what we could ever even comprehend. But when you give that to Him, what you do is, even if you haven't fully done it and you're doing it progressively, He starts to make changes in you, and He starts to prune you. This is why, it's not that I don't believe that people can be fully delivered from things, but if I'm being honest and 100% real, and I'm not saying that I don't believe it can't happen for me or for somebody else, but I believe it's like a pruning process. And I know the Bible has several scriptures about being pruned and refined and perfected. It's a continuous walk with Him. So why wouldn't deliverance in certain ways be a pruning process? So I've had so many bad things happen in my life, and I eventually will talk about my testimony in some of the areas that God has just, I don't even know how he did it. And even right now, it's like very hard to not cry about it, because he's taken a horrible situation and completely traumatized me, and made it as if it never happened. And that's, I'm writing multiple books right now, in the process of editing one and then writing one. But I'm going to talk about my testimony. It's just, you know, like whenever you have been through something that's so traumatic, it's so hard to talk about. But I know that through my testimony, there's some person, even if it's one person, or even if nobody ever sees it, that it's going to impact somebody's life. And forgive me, guys, because it's like, that's exactly what trauma kind of does to you. It can make you not relive things from the past, but it can bring up emotions, because with trauma, enough time has passed to where the impact might somewhat be there, but the immediate effects, like right after a car accident, and it's been years later, it still hurts, but it doesn't hurt as much, if it makes any sense. I don't know if this message helped you, but the gist of what I'm trying to say is that if you find yourself in a pruning process, just lean in more on his grace and give him as much as you can. You might not be able to give him everything, but you're starting the process of learning how to trust him, and so he also can build that relationship and learn how to trust you. And so you're learning how to fully commit yourself to him. And know that your trauma actually is going to be a part of your testimony, and it's going to help set so many people free. So don't always look at it like, oh, this was such a bad, horrible thing that I went through. Also look at it as like, okay, clearly anything great, as horrific as it might sound, anything that had any kind of positive greatness associated to it came from some form of pain. You can't build muscle without working out. You can't birth a child without going through pain. Even in the painful experiences that we don't want to feel, because working out and having a child, those are like, we can see the positive, healthy things that are going to come from that, the joy that's going to come from that. But whenever we're going through something that's so bad, we tend to not see the joy that can stem from it long term, and how it can change our character in a good way to help other people. So I hope this encourages you. I hope this helps you. And I pray that God just intervenes in your life, and that you learn how to give it to him, even if it's in pieces, just to start. And I just pray that over your life in Jesus' mighty name. Bye.